Hey everybody, my name is Becky Compton. So we are going to be doing a two-part lesson series and about eating healthy on a budget. So the first part that we'll be doing today is about general healthy eating. Okay, so like I said, my name is Becky Compton. I am a dietetic master's student at Eastern Michigan University. It's an online coordinated program, and I have a passion for healthy eating and would like to share with you some information about that. So if we want to go around the class, if you could share your name, how many people you cook for, so generally on a day-to-day basis, like how many people you're cooking dinner for, and why you're in this class, and kind of what you're hoping to get out of that. Okay, so just kind of want to get a general idea about where everyone is with their nutrition knowledge. So by show of hands, if you could just show what topics you're familiar with, that would be great. So who knows what the 5 food groups are? Yep, they are fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy. Next, who knows what the 3 macronutrients are? So carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Yep. And then, just by show of hands, how many people of you are familiar with food labels and how to read them? Okay, wonderful. Okay. So next, starting out, we're going to talk about the different food groups. So the visual right here is called My Plate. So if you had seen the food pyramid from before, this has replaced that. They wanted to make a more visual description, something that people could look at and easily understand. So by looking at this plate right here, you're able to see that half of your daily intake on plate should be fruits and vegetables, and the other half should be grains and protein, and you need dairy on the side, most often in the form of milk, but that's how the plate is representing it. So many people look at this and be like, well, wait, my plates don't look like that. Say you have fruits and for snacks in between meals. Some meals are going to have more grains, some are going to have more protein, and that's okay. Mainly, obviously, this is a great guideline, and it would be great if all of your plates looked like this throughout the day. But what's most important is that by the end of the day, if you were to take all the food that you ate and put it on a plate, that it would look somewhat like this plate. That is the goal. Okay, so the first food group that we'll talk about is fruits. So everybody has their favorite fruits, I'm sure. Some are berries, apples, bananas, peaches, and also 100% fruit juice counts as a fruit. Fruits can be fresh, frozen, dried, canned, cooked. Doesn't matter. Fruits are fruit. But one thing, if you are looking at buying canned fruits or the little packages that you can put in lunchboxes, make sure that they are in juice or water instead of heavy syrup. Heavy syrup doesn't add anything to it, nothing that you want, so stick to the lighter options. Here is just a list of the daily recommendations for how much fruit everybody needs to consume. So the amounts vary based on age and activity level. It's always okay to go a little bit over rather than under. So if you're more active, if you're doing more, then eat more than less. So then this just goes through kind of what 1 cup of fruit looks like. So instead of having to cut everything up and put it in a cup, here's what you'll see. So 1 small apple, 1 large banana, 1 large peach, and 8 large strawberries. So we're all roughly about 1 cup of fruit. So more information about fruit. People who eat more fruits and vegetables as part of an overall healthy diet are more likely to have decreased risk of some common diseases, and fruits provide nutrients vital for your health and maintenance of your body. So they're very important. If you don't consume enough, you won't consume enough vitamins and minerals, which will lead to disease. So eating the fruits and vegetables decreases your risk of heart disease and stroke, may protect against cancer, and also the more of these foods that you eat, you have a greater intake of fiber and potassium, which is often lacking in a lot of diets. So the next food group are vegetables. Once again, everybody I'm sure has their favorite, plenty that they don't like. Some examples are carrots, broccoli, spinach, etc. Veggies can also be raw, cooked, fresh, frozen, or canned. So Like, once again, I mean, canned vegetables don't generally come in any type of heavy syrup. The biggest problem we can run into with vegetables are frozen vegetables. Some of them can come with different sauces on them. Don't need that. When you're buying frozen vegetables, you can add seasonings at home if you would like, but try to avoid the sauces, just added extra calories that you don't need. There are also 5 different subgroups of veggies. So dark green vegetables, starchy vegetables, red and orange vegetables, beans and peas, and other vegetables. All of these subgroups are important, so they each offer different vitamins and minerals, different nutrients, so be able to consume a variety of all of them. So once again, another list of daily recommendation for vegetables. So children less than adults, and once again, it has to do with activity level and age, and can't really do it with vegetables, so more is better. So like I was talking about the different subgroups of vegetables, if you follow this link, it will go to the amounts that you need of each subgroup, as opposed to just the total amount of vegetables. Okay, the next food group that we'll talk about are grains. So I'm sure we're all familiar with different grains, but a grain product is anything made from wheat, rice, oats, cornmeal, barley, any of those cereal grains that we're familiar with. So these would be breads, pasta, cereals, tortillas, stuff like that. Then within grains, we have 2 different subgroups. We have whole grains and refined grains. So whole grains there's 3 different parts of the grain: the bran, germ, and endosperm. And a whole grain includes all of these. These are your whole wheat flours, brown rice, things that are intact. Then we also have refined grains. So in the refined grains, the bran and the germ have been removed. And in doing this, you also remove the fiber, iron, and many B vitamins, and are left with the endosperm, which is pretty much just starch. So still get nutrient, like energy from it, but not too many nutrients. So these are going to be your white flours, white breads, things that have been refined. And they're also generally termed enriched, so they take the vitamins and minerals out and try to add them back in. Okay, so a little bit more about grains. If you consume enough grains, especially whole grains, in an overall healthy diet and exercise, then they have a lot of benefits, especially the whole grains, and we want to aim to have at least 50% of your grains be whole. More is obviously better. But different grains may reduce the risk of heart disease, they support healthy digestion, and help with weight management. So within the digestion, they help slow things down, which we'll talk about later in macronutrients, but this can keep you fuller longer and helps with weight management. So the next food group is dairy. So all fluid milk products and foods such as yogurt and cheese. So any foods that are milk products that contain calcium are count for the dairy group. Foods that are made from milk but don't have calcium, such as butter, sour cream, cream cheese, those don't really count for dairy. Everyone needs between 2 and 3 cups a day, whether that be a cup of yogurt, a glass of milk, however you want to do it. Then dairy also contains calcium and vitamin D, which are both helpful in building strong bones. So when you think of little kids, you want strong bones to help them grow. And then as you get older, you want to keep consuming calcium and vitamin D so you reduce your risk of osteoporosis and other fractures. Okay, so then the last food group is protein. So this includes meat, poultry, seafood, beans and peas, eggs, soy products, nuts, and seeds. So if you remember back to the vegetable group, beans and peas are also part of this group. So you get kind of a double whammy here. And so for how much you need, women need between 5 and 5.5 ounces, and men need between 5.5 and 6.5 ounces each day. So protein is important because it's the building block for muscles, bones, skin, blood, and cartilage. So when choosing protein foods, be sure to choose lean choices and don't forget about seafood. So, let's see, seafood is very important because it contains omega-3 fatty acids, which aren't really found anywhere else. So salmon is a big one that includes this, and this is helpful in preventing heart disease. It's also important to choose a variety of different proteins throughout the day or throughout the week so that you can get the benefits of each of them. Okay, any questions about food groups? Okay, so moving on, now we're going to talk about different macronutrients. Okay, so the first one we'll talk about is carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are the body's main fuel source. So carbohydrates are long chains of glucose and other sugars that are broken down, and then the cells use glucose for their main fuel source. There are starches and sugars. Starches are generally a little bit more complex, longer chains of glucose and simple sugars. And then sugars, smaller units that make up the starches, more easily broken apart in the body. Dietary fiber is also a different type of, or specific type of carbohydrate. So dietary fiber helps slow your digestion and keeps you fuller longer. There is soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. So soluble goes through the body, you can digest it. Insoluble, you can't digest it, but it goes through your body, keeps everything moving, pushes all the icky stuff out, and keeps you good. And it is recommended that carbohydrates make up 45 to 65% of your daily intake. So, the next macronutrient is protein. So, protein is the major functional and structural component of all cells. So, it keeps cells the right shape that they are, and it keeps them doing what they need to be doing. And with that, amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So, these are important to make up the protein, and also amino acids are precursors to different enzymes and hormones in the body. So think about the hormones that are in your body, they need to be functioning properly. Proteins are very complex, and they are the only macronutrient that contains nitrogen. And then certain amino acids in the body need to be either consumed in the diet, or your body can make them, but if they need to be consumed, the body cannot make them. So these are considered indispensable proteins. So dispensable proteins that your body can make out of components already in your body. Then we also have conditionally indispensable proteins, or amino acids. So these amino acids, your body can make them, but if you have a high demand for some reason, whether you're sick or injured, you will need to consume them because your body can't keep up with the needs that you have. And it is recommended that you get 10 to 35% of your daily intake as protein. Okay, so the last macronutrient that I'll talk about is fat. Fat is a major fuel source for the body. So both protein and carbohydrates give you 4 kilocalories per gram. So this leads into the amount of calories in the food source that you're eating. But fat contains 7 kilocalories per gram, so much higher in energy. Fat is an important part of the diet. It aids in the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. So vitamins A, D, E, and K cannot be absorbed in the body unless you're also consuming fat. So that's why it's important, and it's recommended that you eat 20 to 35% of your daily intake as fat. Okay, any questions about macronutrients? Okay, so now we're going to move into looking at different food labels. We'll pass them out to see you guys can take a look at. So what we're looking for when we're looking at a food label. So the first thing you'll see at the top is the serving size. So the serving size is how much, basically what the nutrition facts are based off of. So you can look at the nutrition facts and say, okay, that's great. But the serving size will give you that much. So whether that be a half a cup, whatever it may be, that's how much you need to eat of that product to get all of those calories and nutrients in. So under serving size will be calories. So like I said, how much energy you're getting out of that product based on the serving size. The next thing that we can look at is total fat. So there's different kinds of fat, whether it be saturated fat, trans fat, polyunsaturated fat, monounsaturated fat. Fat, like we talked about, fat isn't bad, you need it, but you want to get the right type of fat is what's important. So trans fat, you don't need it. You don't want any of it. If it's 0, that's great, but the lower the better. Saturated fat also isn't great for you. so try to limit your saturated fat intake. But poly and monounsaturated fats are better for you fats. So those are what are found in nuts, avocados. You'd rather have more of those fats than saturated fats. Okay, so the next things that we'll see as we're moving down the food label are cholesterol and sodium. So cholesterol is mainly found in animal products. It used to be this thing where people thought if you ate more cholesterol, your cholesterol levels would increase. Now it's known that that's not really the case. But still, cholesterol, you need it, but you don't need a ton of it in your diet. Sodium as well, necessary to keep everything functioning, but you don't want to overdo it. That can also cause issues. So, and this goes for all of the nutrients on a food label. It gives you the percentage of how much that is for if your daily intake if based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So when looking at the sodium, just keep in mind what else you're eating that day. So you don't want to overdo it, but a little bit is okay. So looking further on, we go to total carbohydrates. So under carbohydrates, you will see dietary fiber and total sugars, as well as added sugars. So like we talked about, you need carbohydrates to function. Can't go without them for too long anyways. So generally, depending on like something like a granola bar, you want more fiber than sugar. But also depending if you have something with fruit in it, it's always going to have sugar because fruits have sugars in them. But what we want to limit is added sugars. So that's just plain sucrose, table sugar that we just don't need a ton of extra in the diet. So then some of the last things are protein, vitamins and minerals, and ingredients. So protein is good. We want that in the foods that we eat. It's important, like we talked about with the macronutrients. It keeps you feeling fuller longer. All good things. Vitamins and minerals, also all good to have and important and necessary. We'll give you the percentage as well. So the higher the percentage, the better. But we also don't need to worry about going way over because obviously we're not just eating one food a day. Then the ingredient list is at the bottom. So the ingredient list goes through everything that's in the food that you're eating. So in the first ingredient, that's what will be the most abundant in the product based on weight. So if it's something like almonds or a whole food that you know of, then it's probably good. We would rather not have the first ingredient be sugar, so or anything refined or enriched. So look for whole foods closer to the beginning. Okay, so then here are just some examples of different food labels. So just kind of going through. You can look at the ones at your seats as well. One important thing to remember is that we often don't just eat one serving size of a food, and that's okay. It's not, nobody's going to get in trouble for eating more than one serving size, but what's important is that we are aware that the calories and fat and sodium and all of that increase the more that we eat. So lots of things like mac and cheese. So if you make a box of mac and cheese, you probably are going to eat more than one serving of that. So lots of foods have started putting what the nutrition facts are for the entire container. And you'll see this on some ice creams and all that as well, just so you're aware, so you can be mindful of, okay, if I eat one serving, it's this, if I eat two, it's this, if I eat the whole thing, it's this. So that's what's important with that. Here's another just little infographic about nutrition facts label. One thing to be aware of is that food labels can sometimes try to trick you, and this is often found on the front of the label, and things can be labeled as no fat, claiming that they don't have any fat in them and have up to half a gram of fat per serving. So that's fine and all. You think, oh, half a gram, that's no big deal, but like I said, most people eat more than one serving. So if you eat 2 servings, that's 1 gram of fat. If you eat 4 servings, that's 2 grams of fat. So it adds up quickly, and it's not fair, but that's what they can do. So just be aware that food labels can trick you, and so you want to look at the nutrition facts and read through the ingredients to know what's really going on. Okay, so that's all I have for you. Do you have any questions about anything that we went over today? Thank you.